Hello everyone, I'm gonna wait a few minutes. You guys confirm if the sound is better this time, and I'm going to wait a little bit so I know that I am alive. If I'm not, I may go without microphone. Thank you, Andrea. Nice to see you. Is it better this time? Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so excited for today. I'm gonna wait a few minutes for people to know that I am alive. We're going to be like an hour. If you don't have time to be with me, I will recommend you to watch it later on YouTube or here, because many interesting things about parallel timelines of Mary, Magdalene, and Jesus are going to be shared today. I have been having dreams with them, and I think it's going to help us to, this is the points that they shared with me previously before. How we can have a fearless heart, because it's all about love. How can we have peace in times of uncertainty or war-alike? Many of us have war-like scenarios within our own lives, like our families, our workplace, government, control regulations, things like that. And for July, the theme is going to be all about freedom and limitations. This is a theme that comes from next month. So we're going to sit light into wherever we feel limited. And at the same time, other thing that they say to me is that you all are as perfect just as you are, and the way that you are, and we all can start where we are. And this is how they are going to explain. They are going to take us to, I think, 4 timelines where Jesus was alive, probably with another name in another parallel universe with Mary Magdalene, I think, and how in other times of earth they made it so they could smile at fear and be grateful for all the things that were happening, and being able to be resilient. Thank you so much. Other thing that they said is that every moment it is our teacher, and wisdom comes when we do not escape about the fearful stuff, but we embrace it, understand the whys, and then we're able to transform it and transmute it in a way that that situation, whether you call that attachment, entity, karma, it doesn't come again and again. So many of the things that we are experiencing right now, like quarantine, viruses, things at the world level, and war-like situations with control and manipulation, things like that I don't want to get into details, but maybe we will. We have lived them before many times, like in the Crusades, in our own independence times, in our own each countries, or civil wars that we all have. And we have had quarantines many times before. So it's just programs that we are rereading over and over and over in different ways, in parallel universe too. And I think this time we are ready to incorporate the light and as humanity as one, in a way that we all can ascend into new earth. I think in this time, I think the one that you and I are, we are ready for it. We are ready for it. We have been working on for a long time. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And we just have to be fierce, being a warrior and having courage about what you believe, what you stand for, and what you think is going to be your share and your piece of the puzzle for the whole that we all are. Another thing that I wanted to ask, it is that if you guys feel drawn to donate to me and purchasing music that I'm going to be uploading, I post the Fletcher frequencies twice that week. I'm purchasing that music. It's a little bit expensive because it was created for the channel. So if you guys would like to contribute anything, $1, $5, or anything that you feel guided to my PayPal, that will help me to buy the music that is going to serve in a free way for all of us as a background music. I do like an intro for I think 2 minutes about codes and like a relaxation, but the music, it is created the first 7 for the main chakras, and then I'm going to post 2 more. One for the human resonance that is very masculine, grounding, and then other one that I just requested to be created for us, very angelic Atlantean dolphin mood. And I'm working with Sounds of Light. If you would like to follow him, he does amazing music. You guys can, I'm gonna put his music in the comments for later. And at the same time, I was making some images for the course. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for the course that I'm gonna start today, the Reiki course. I did not send the material yesterday because, first of all, it was Father's Day for many, and I think some days we should allow ourselves to be with our families, whether we celebrate or not, whether we have our parents in heaven or not, and whether we have a father in home that wanted to celebrate it. But today I have all that information uploaded ready. I am adding a PDF with images about how the chakras change, how the different rings, how the oversoul works, so I make it easier. This course is a little bit different about the light language course we started last month. The one that last month, it was very easygoing, very light in information because it was the foundation. But this one, guys, went and raised the bar. And for me, even, I was not sure that I would understand. So yesterday I downloaded the images. But I think we are going to be understanding with time and with our own processes. The ones that already sign up, go easy with that information, because as I channel it, I share it with all of you. They talk about how the new chakra system works and different layers of the aura. They level as rims or spheres, parts of the Merkaba that are connected to the galaxy, the universe, and different. It's like a deeper understanding about codes and how they engage at the multidimensional level. So this is how this course is going to be. And then it is kind of like a regular language course, because it will give you the foundation for each of you to create your own program of healing working with, that could be used for the self or with clients. I shared a little bit about how we work with bullying at internet, and social media, trolls, things like that. From what I have experienced, how to work with clients. I work like a little bit about what I have learned in this 4 years, I think, 4 or 5 years that I have been doing this. And this is it. The 2 courses don't have a continuation, but in a sense they can. They could be separated or they can use it together. But if you use it together, it's going to be a huge transformation for the ones who decide to do it with me. Because in the next course that I think I'm gonna do in the October 8th, the 8/8, the Lion's Gate, is going to be about psychic gifts like telepathy, bilocation, teletransportation, astral travel, things like that, because those gifts are being activated. I'm seeing people that have not even done any soul work at all. They don't know about chakras, anything, and they are doing light language. So this is how these new generations are being woke up to very high frequency gifts, because their DNA is more crystallized probably than us. These new generations, teenagers, young people, kids, they quite don't have the knowledge that we may have about ancient civilizations and things like that, but they are working the light in their own way. It's more fast, it's more high in frequency, and it's more powerful. So I'm going to share what I learned in that third level about remote viewing, for example, things like that. How is it that you use your third eye? Things. So that is going to be like the third, and I do have Lana here. This cat is like a dragon. She actually gives me protection. When I dream, I saw her like a dragon. But probably I should let her out of the equation. Let me see. Set your intentions for today. So I put different discounts in the services of the page because I'm trying to purchase this high frequency music. And I put my drawing of the light in discount, and then the light language course in discount, and then I have all the old courses at discount. Lana. I think I'm gonna put her out. And then this course, I put it with $100 off. So if you guys feel guided to do it, to learn with me, and at the same time to support what I am doing, I will receive you all. Just look into the page, and I'm gonna leave those discounts for today, for the rest of the day. I think I'm gonna go with the flow. The ones that already sign up with the course, after I ground, after this transmission, I'm gonna send the information. I'm gonna, no, you're gonna get me distracted. I'm gonna put her out, okay? Let's begin. Please set your intentions. You guys can watch the rest of the video later at night, or do it now if you would like to receive whatever that Jesus and Mary Magdalene would like to do. Thank you so much for the stars. I appreciate your support. Look for a place where you can just chill and listen. I move a little bit, and I move because it's the Kundalini flow that I'm trying to adjust with the energy. It doesn't hurt. In the contrary, it feels like I'm dancing or moving, like language moving, trying to work out the frequency and then ground if it feels too much. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, any intention for today, please type them in. Give me a couple minutes so I begin. I'm going to ask each of your higher selves to be in charge of your own transmission, your team of guides. We do have Christ consciousness here, so I'm going to let them speak through me, the Magdalene Collective, as they represent the feminine and the masculine side of God in divine union. Ti ishka te ira se te eki ishka. Greet you, childs of God. We are in union, speaking at one voice. We are Magdalene Collective, and Christ consciousness, we are many souls in many different timelines and many different dimensions, speaking at once, not only the ones that you know from the reference of the Bible, but we are at many dimensions, and we have lived many times on earth, and this is what we wanted to share today. This transmission is going to be energetic. The channel tend to go low in her voice. If you don't understand, if you cannot hear, or any disconnection that may happen, that transmission is going to come to you. You can even set your intentions to send healing to places, things, or other persons that you feel. And as you set your intentions within your own heart, we do have doctors of the light that works with the golden ray that are going to be very diligent, seeding light from the Christ in any of those intentions that you have for today. We would like to take you traveling with us, and for that we're going to ask only to focus on your breathing. We're going to ask each of you to breathe into your sacral chakra, and for that Magdalene is going to speak now. Tima sete ki ashka sekurete iki ishka siti iki ina. Mighty Childs of the Light. In my own time, my mother taught me to access God through my body technology, to my feeling, to my thoughts, and breathing. It was the key technique that opened that channel through my body and my chakra technology. I would practice for hours and for days, sometimes without food in my body, only feeding from light and water, until I would allow myself to discover that within universe, the universe within, and through that universe within, the deeper I went into my own journey, the farther I would understand the outer world. So we invite you to breathe into your belly. Visualize that you have 3 roses. Red rose from the root chakra, orange rose from your sacral, and a yellow rose from your plexus. As you breathe into your plexus and exhale through your sacral, breathe into your root and exhale through your plexus. Breathe into your sacral and exhale to your root. Breathe into your root and exhale through your plexus, and play around. You can do it in a faster pacing, opening the dragon weights outside each of your chakras, allowing the serpent flow from the Kundalini rising to clear, balance, whatever it is needed. Ti ishka te ira asete eki ishta kiki iteki ikiya. The dragon gates are supportive chakras you have on the side of your body that travel in synergy in an ascended way, starting from beneath your feet all the way up through your chakra. And if you get distracted, if any sound, any movement, something disconnects you, go back into your breathing, into your roses, into your own inner wisdom. And now I'm going to ask you to play around with the energy. Allow your roses to create a sacred geometry structure with a bouquet of golden roses in your heart that represent the plasmic light from the central sun, the center of the universe. This plasmic light will come to raise your frequency and elevate your connection. You can have as many roses as you would like to. You can smell the healing. You can taste the healing. You can see, observe the different subtle changes in the frequency all around you. You can command any intentions. You can even allow the golden roses to create a sacred place around you. You have 12 beings of light at your service during this transmission. We'll give you a couple minutes to set your intentions, allowing this transmission to help you to go deeper and deeper into your own journey. Ti ishka tititina asete eri kirate eki ishka. Breathe. Hold the light ti ishka saha ke mai ki ke takoso ti eki ishka. I'm going to hold your left hand. My beloved Christ is going to hold your right hand. You are going to gently and slowly seed light of the Christ into your meridians, your chakras, and your own technology. So your auric field becomes golden rose. I am the rose and here's the gold. Tete ashke te ira asete eki ishka. Minehe ke ite ki ishka. And if you are daring to see, you will see your skin glowing, shining to ishka. Te sahai ki ke dakuko te ishka de karaba sevia vai kiana. Hava te ki ishka te isahako ite iki ishka. And as we hold hands, the pure source consciousness ray of light is going to come directly from source for your support, entering your Merkaba of light, opening your field, ti ishta, ti isete ki ishka, your crown chakra, cleansing your third eye, opening the communication center in your throat, expanding ways in your heart. Now all the roses in the world are going to emanate healing on your way from your support, and the roots are going to be your roots for you to use. Now the energy goes soft, drift deep, travel deep, disconnect with anything outside of you. You are only going to receive what it is needed, not more, not less. This session is going to come to integrate and stabilize all the 6 months activations that you have done before. You will feel rested but revitalized, relief, uplifted, but allowing yourself to gently and softly integrate whatever it is needed. So now imagine with us that we do have created a transport vehicle for you to travel in time around the matrix. We invite you, you may see this as a ship of light, as a Merkaba of light, as a sphere of light. And as you give permission to yourself to explore, open the gate, and in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You'll be inside. Ti ishka, ti sa te karako te ki ishka. Ground here and all the way to the center of Gaia. So she is aware of all the processes that you will do today. She gave consent, and your higher self is next to you, your guides, us, and 12 beams of light for your support and frequency. Ti ishtakava ababa teki amahavevia teki ishtak. You may see, sense, or notice that everything feels like moving in a very slow, gentle, and soothing way, almost as if it's made of the sweetest cotton, that it's iridescent, opalescent, sparkling starlight all around you, tingles, blinks, gazing light. Ti ishka ti ira amasite eki ishka. If it feels too much, go within, ground, and ask you guys to be adjusted. It's meant to be a blissful and pleasant journey. Ti ishka ti ira asite eki ishka ti asite eki ikiya. Anything that you need, let us know. If you would like to see, to hear, to know, to sense, we're going to come and support your magnetic structure for you to receive what you need, not more, not less. Ti ishka te ira asete eki ishka. Notice that with all moves, you are in a different place. Te ashka te ira asete eki ishka te eki ikiya. In the first place that you arrive, as the vehicle of light opens, you can come down and ground instantly from this time into your time. You may notice that your clothing change. You change. You will be watching it is as it is a movie. You may feel something. You may know something. You may taste, smell, hear, perceive. If you cannot create the sensation that you are there with us, this is our own time. We are in the mountains, reconnected to the land. In our own time, the one that you know from the Bible, many different versions were created at the same time on earth, and some the lineage from the Christ and I as a complement female version was Arcturian, and another times it was from Pleiades, and another times it was from the Anunnaki collective, and another times this expression it was a little bit more darker. Many of those different expressions serve the same effect because humanity it was ready to shift, but this shift has been done at different alchemists within history, not only the ones that you believe you know, but in different parallel universe, the destiny unfold in different ways. In some, it was a family with kids from our own, and in others, we were not lovers, just partners and friends that work together. It depends on which timeline you are serving. In some timelines it was crucified, and in others it was not. The Christ died at old age, and it all depends on which timeline you're accessing the information. Even in another timelines, he was not Jew. He was a more Indian yogi type of master. What I would like to share this time, it is that it doesn't matter exactly how the story unfolds. It matters that it was the voice of God telling all of us and teaching all of us that we are all the light. That's why the statement, it is the I am presence. The I am presence, that it is a first question from the light in separation of who I am and who are you, and what I can become. And this is the choice of the free will that each of you have through your own choosing. It's not about what happened to you. It is about that everything comes from you. Everything, it is a reaction from you, and not in a sense that you would judge or criticize your own manifestations, but more in ways that as you embrace that, you can shift, change, and rectify, and change into the time in history that will serve you the most. Sometimes on earth we're very dark, but we're not going to explore those. We would like to explore timelines where earth already ascended. And we wanted to do this today so you have a wider perception about the things that you hear and that you feel, so you can anchor yourself into whatever agenda serves you the most. We do understand that humans at this time have tendency to be a little bit combative and conspiratory about how things can go wrong, but instead of scanning life for possible, fearful, controlling scenarios, why don't you scan life about the things that can go well, that can change, the things that are in your hands for you to transform? This is why we both, as holding hands with you, wanted to show you today. In the time where we were together and we were partners working as the flames of the divine masculine and feminine, we were both prepared to be together, to support together, to love together, and through our own foundation as a team, we will teach others how you can work with your partner, not only in a romantic relationship, but more than a human relationship that can work in unity with someone else than your own. I was taught by my mother that I was going to have always someone who I needed to support with in the journey for humanity. I knew that it was in times of my life that my body was going to struggle because the degree of empathy and sensitivity that I was born with. I was also taught that I was going to embrace my pain and my struggle, because that way it was quickly healed. That if I resist and try to fix it, thinking that I was wrong, I prepare all my life to have the life that I have, the life that you remember in your own unique way, in your own timeline, the one that it is pertinent for you to experience with. But I had many other lives and many other planes and many other dimensions, not only as Magdalene. In Magdalene, it is a consciousness, like the consciousness of Christ. Consciousness is not only me, even though I may represent it for many of you. There are many goddesses, angelic and galactic representatives of this powerful divine feminine that comes to be the creator of God. In fact, at the eyes of Source, the highest aspect of the Magdalene Collective, it will be the goddess of creation, because that goddess of creation, it is a first aspect in which Source could see itself as female or male, or both or none. When Source decides to express itself in separation, it divides itself in three, where he could be both, none, androgynous, let's say, creation through feeling, and a masculine version of himself through thought and ideas. So the first aspect that separated from God, it was the masculine aspect, who think, who am I? And then he noticed that it was something else outside, and that it was the creation aspect, the goddess of creation. And then the second question, it was, who are you? And then he noticed that duality was existed, that it is a first and second dimension of all, the sense of the self and the sense of the separation, the opposites, whether you call those dark and light, harmony and disharmony, noise and sound, love and fear, male and female. We all within this universe and this matrix have all of those opposite colliding in a different alchemist within. In every dimension, those aspects will perform in different ways according to the needs and the ideas about the God within that we all have. And therefore, that third question that came, it is who I can become. So God split itself in different versions, in different playgrounds, trying to see what I have become. And this is a question for each of you. What you can become. Who are you? This is a question. Who are you? And who it is in front of you. What it is that you have. That is your collective, your family, your work. Those things that you hate so much, that you cannot stand, like the collective currents. Who are you? Who are they? And what you can become, what you can do. That it is the question. Titi Ashkate, let's integrate that while you sit with yourself in a very honest way, asking yourself what I can do, where I can start, so I create the who are you different, so I can express myself in a different form. And this is what we wanted to show. In our own timeline, we were the expression of love, true compassion. As I was transparent to the Christ and he was transparent to me, we started being very honest with ourselves, but also we could see the honesty and the transparency of everyone else. And in that sense, we hold no judgment. We learn to hold the space so everyone else could embrace the love within in the way that they were ready for. Doing our best. Being enough for ourselves and for our brothers and sisters. Teaching true love, compassion, and gentleness. Knowing how to be tender. Because judging the other was judging ourselves. Criticizing the other, it was criticizing our own. Being dishonest with other, lying to other, stealing from other, it was doing the same for ourselves. Everyone else, it is your own reflection. If you would like to make your reflection smile, you have to smile first. If the reflection that you see, it's angry, it's toxic, it's narcissistic, you cannot deal with it, doesn't understand. Isn't that a reflection of us, an aspect of you? Sometimes we're shocked about how we could find that we could have the same things. Dishonesty, envy, competition, comparison. But it was not about judging neither us or the others. That's why Jesus always knew how to put the other shake. This is not about not setting healthy boundaries, because we could be fiercely loving and brave in our own light, standing for our own truth. This was more about knowing what it was needed to be for all of us as one, because we do understood that everyone else, it was the Son of God. They were all brothers and sisters. How we could try to harm anyone else, because that will be harming ourselves. Now I'm going to allow I love to speak to you. would like to deeply thank each of you for being here and the ones that are going to listen to this transmission in the future. We are honored that you have you in your hearts. And we're going to make a commitment that will provide anything that you need at this time, anything that it is needed, not more, not less. So set your intentions once again. And I ask you to please ground and place your attention in the roses in your lower chakras. Those lower chakras that provide a courageous, peaceful being, a fearless, loving being, a powerful, gentle human being. And as you come with me and hold my hand and my beloved into our own Merkaba of light, we're going to travel to Eshka Masahekeda Vate Hara Sahaki Ishka Tikara Kutiki Ishkitika Sahakoi Tiki Ishka. In my timeline, the timeline from this channeler, I came from the star system of Sirius, Sirius B. And in our own timeline, we were in the future. We're trying to understand how the matrix works. We had a sense of the knowing that we had many versions of the self, many doppelgangers, and in a sense the challenge it was not feel overwhelmed by the knowing about how the other aspect of you would do. In my lifetime, in a planet that is called Kawar, we were masculine and female within, and androgynous and none. We had no sense of gender. We had no sense of having a name or to belong to a tribe. We could have the capacity to know what it feels like to be a grain of sand, a particle of light, and a sphere of gas, or a being, whether that you call that plant, human, or animal. We knew that we were part of our own planet, Kawar, and at the same time, we could speak with everything. In fact, we had no language. Our language was a feeling, and through feeling, we were transparent to everything and anything. So we could hold no judgment or critique or shame or guilt, because that was shared with all of us. And in that way, the burden, it was dropped off. In that timeline, we decided to create maps of the soul through the journey of the matrix. And we call that sacred geometry and codes of light, because the light in action create a movement. That movement create a sound, and that sound carry a message. That message was that either love, fear, guilt, shame, proud, fulfillment. We noticed that each frequency had a different movement, a different sound. Sometimes it will vibrate in shadow. Sometimes it will vibrate in the highest love of source. So we call codes the frequencies that were vibrating in a negative charge, like fear, guilt, shame, perversion, let's say. And light codes, the ones that vibrate in a very high frequency. We identify that when the frequency vibrates in harmony, then we'll call plasmic light. Plasmic light, it is pure source consciousness, unconditional love. It is the energy that vibrates in the highest alchemy that they could have. And in our own timeline, we had no day and night, so we were not anchored to be afraid to shadow or light. Even some aspects of us were eager to explore the shadow, because it is like being a spy in your own journey, like being uncovered in a part of you that were wanted to have a new alchemy, that wanted to vibrate in plasmic light, and therefore it was needed. It was needed to go into the shadow and to see what it feels like to lie. For example, why I did lie, why I felt the need to pretend, to prefabricate a new reality. What if I would not lie? What I needed to do in order for me to be truthful with myself, to be honest. Maybe it is that I need to take a while to myself, so I agree with the aspect of me that want to lie and go into dishonesty. So in order for that, we were traveling the light and the shadow equally, creating diagrams, creating sacred geometry so we could understand. And this is where light language was born. We started working with different other races so we could understand how Pleiadians were working within their own matrix, how the Orions, how the Dracons, how the Reptilians, how the shadow angels or the angels, so we could understand every aspect of the self. And many versions of us begin to be a guiding light for others. So let's say if one aspect of you that it is in 4 dimension on earth would like to know how to speak like language, they will come to us in meditation, let's say, and then we will do a map of the soul or a blueprint so they can find the aspect that it is an expert of that language, and then have a reunion during dream state or astral travel or meditation, and they can receive what is needed in a form that they would understood. Not through language, more like through knowing that comes from the feeling. And that way we realize that every race, every dimension would understand according to their own needs what was needed. We started working with the galactics, and the galactics who were required to come to Earth in a form of Christ consciousness. We noticed the need to separate the female from masculine aspect from the androgynous aspect, so we could deeply understand how Gaia wanted to explore herself. And this is how Christ consciousness, it is rooted deeply. When Gaia wanted to ascend, she requested through the angelic versions of herself that she was ready to hold sentient lives. And at that time, Gaia was very shadowy, dark, and she needed beings that will vibrate in a higher light so she could seed herself with light and she could ascend. We do believe that story may be shared in another time, and now we would like to invite you again into the Merkaba of light. Hold our hands, and we are going to travel into 2 more places. Ti ishka ti era asete ki ishka ti kiara kamanene ti esete ki ishka. Breathe ground through the Merkaba flight and then ground all the way to Gaia. Ask to adjust your frequencies so this is comfortable. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are in Germany in World War II. But not, this is not the Germany that you know. This is another parallel universe. Please ground. In this parallel universe, the future aspects of humans decided to accelerate the growth of human collective. They see themselves to the Nazis, let's say. They share technology so they could explore experimentation with chemistry, alchemy, and share an exchange with what you would call extraterrestrials, but they were not really aliens, they were humans from the future. Those humans from the future were benevolent, the idea was benevolent, but they request the assistance from malevolent beings because it was needed at this time. It was needed because sometimes humans are only able to evolve through something that impacts you very deeply. And we're going to put an example of this. We ask you to only see the bigger picture. This is not your reality. This is another reality. Let's say that you're reading that Mr. Paul died in an Asia country. It had a heart attack and struggled for 7 days, and then it died instantly. You may feel nothing because you don't know Mr. Paul. You are reading this, but it's just like, I'm sorry for him, I'm sorry for his family, but I don't feel it in my gut because I have no connection. But what if you are a son of Mr. Paul, and then because Mr. Paul died, you lose all I have, and then your mom entered in a depression that is so deeply that she died a few months after? Will you be affected? We believe yes. And that it is because you were inside of Mr. Paul's death. Sometimes in order for us to understand something, we have to go through the experience, not knowing exactly how it is going to evolve, because know that those situations are decided at the higher level. At the higher level, that is going to have a benefit for the bigger picture. So in this timeline of World War II, the idea it was whether you think that those killings and those hybridization experiments were a bad thing that happened to those people, that it is not your timeline. In reality, they hybridized humanity in a way that they could have sense of the stars, and that it was needed because those humans from the future came from the Americans, came from the Russian ones, and from many countries that had the capacity to travel to the star. And then the space program began, and then you were in contact with many beings from your future and from other races. And after World War II, in this country, in this timeline, we're gonna correct that, the nuclear bomb, it didn't explode because human understood that a change was needed, and that the way to improve the human race, it was not actually to war. It was from making peace with who you believe it is your enemy, because peace is not done with your friends, it's done with your element, with your enemies. And we're gonna adjust the channel. So we ask you today that you make peace with whatever it is your enemy, whether that it is the economic system, your family and friends, your work, the profession that you have, or your own self. Make peace with whatever triggers you, and as you cooperate with you, so unify all aspects of you. And through that unification, the human collective is going to integrate itself, because the way that we perceive right now your timeline, we are all fighting against each other. And we believe the solution, it is to work hand in hand, to take away your differences and understand that you have way more similarities than differences. And this is where we are going to go next. And that you believe this story may be true or coming from the imagination of the channel, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do with it. And it does matter how bad things that are perceived can come to be the greatest change for a group. The group that decides to born from the ashes, and that decides to transform what was in disharmony, creating new archetypes about what it is needed, and deciding what you want to become. So again, the question it is, who are you? What do you see? And what you can become? And with that, the next light language is going to help you to integrate this transmission in the best way, in the highest way for yourself and anyone else. Clear in timelines alike to any war, control, any experiments with the human race, any negative malevolence agendas that many of you may have on your soul as agreements for growth. And you may choose that there is no need to grow and evolve from any of these situations. You can grow and evolve peacefully, graciously, through love and light, through peace. And as you come inside of the Merkaba of light, in 5, 3, 2, 1, we ask you to ground into the light and all the way to Gaia, in New York, in the 9/11. Open yourself. This is another 9/11. It's not the ones that you remember, that you read in your own timelines. This is a panel version of what happened, but it is similar to what we shared before, and we just wanted to amplify the bigger picture about what may be happening at your collective. As you ground, I want you to see that we feel sorry, first of all, for whoever may feel triggered for these events that we are describing. We're going to see plasmic light so you are able to see them to neutrality. We're not going to share the whys or the reasons why that situation needed to happen or it was decided to happen, because in not all versions of humanity it did happen. But in this one we're sharing, after this painful situation, America really became United States through the example and the light that the New Yorkers were able to pull up from within. It was a sense of all separations, they were not helpful anymore, and they really become fearless through the heart, working out their light right where they were, through the grief and the sorrow and the pain, the confusion about why this is happening to us. They all become helping each other without no difference on the color of their skin, their religion beliefs. It was all beautiful in a sense, because the transformation, it was a leading example for everyone else. And in this timeline, they decided to separate themselves from the federal government because they couldn't deal with whatever the world expected from them. And they quarantined themselves, but to reborn. And reborn in a way that they design a new structure for government, a new economic system, a new health system. It may not seem like an easy thing to do, but it was the most graceful way that we all felt admiration and honor. And this is why it is shared today, because this is where you are going. It was a sense of, it doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter who I am and who are you, but it does matter what we can become. And what they become, it was really the leading example of love, kind and compassion to the brother that needed another brother hand for food, for cleansing, from healing, from just a shoulder so they could cry and speak whatever they were happening, from their sorrow and grief. It was really outstanding. Like when someone knows they're gonna die and they just have 6 months left, and they said, you know what, whatever, I'm not gonna engage with my family monet anymore drama. I'm not going to engage with that anymore. I don't have time for it. Doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. There is no big deal all the dark things you see. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what happened to you in the past or what happened to your neighbor. It doesn't matter the color of the skin, the gender, their sexuality, their belief. It doesn't matter. It does matter that you are all humans, that you all have hearts, that you all have soul, that you all have spirit, that deep within, even the most troubled souls have purity in their hearts. Maybe so heated, yes. But you cannot ascend alone, even if you want to. Even if you want to isolate yourself because you cannot deal with the world. At some point you're gonna need food, shelter, a place to live, a work to do, someone or something to have income, or anything. You will all ascend to New Earth when you all hold each other's hands. Starting with the ones that you feel resonance. That is easy to hold your hand, to feel compassion and kindness. And therefore slowly, gradually and gently with the ones who trigger you. Because you are all one. We are all one. In that timeline, in that parallel universe, first of all, for the federal government, it was shocking. It was, how could you? It is like if a child leaves home, like, father and mother, I'm done with you. You didn't raise me the way I deserve it, so I am ready to choose my own life. We're not suggesting anything. This is just another story from another world. And then the rest of the world decided to implement alike systems. And in that timeline, thanks to that 9/11, humans ascend gracefully because they understood many things don't matter. It just matters what you are, what I am, and what we can become together. United States, in some ways, it is the mirror of Atlantis, at least in this timeline. This is what we perceive, and a huge transformation is going to be. We're not going to keep details. This is not a time. But what we would like to share as a Christ consciousness, it is that if you are not able to have compassion for your brother and sister, or for yourself, it's going to be hard for you to ascend to New Earth, because Earth, it is a frequency you tune in, a frequency of love, fierce for love, brave love and heart. And it's not in a place that you are going to travel. It is in your heart, in your body, in your feelings. So the first advice we give to you, as all of you are invited into your own Merkaba flight, to receive healing and integration, you are only going to understand and get feedback for whatever your higher self and your soul decided that benefits you. We do believe the way it is to understand that each other needs to be respected for their own will. And the responsibility, it is from your own light, from your own capacity to love in a very courageous way, as a lion of love, very fierce in the way that you can have peace. And many things that may seem to happen around you, it doesn't matter. They're all part of the illusion. As you see that Earth has many illusions, many stories, you can choose to tune into the one that will benefit you the most. And as you come into your own vessel, into your own space, now the question it is, who are you? Who are you? So listen to yourself without judgment, without critique. Who am I? That it is a question. And then allow yourself, if you're not ready to do that now, do it later when you are brave enough to be honest with yourself and to be honest about what you see. And then the question it is who I can become. What do you want your story to be? What is the story that you tell everyone else? That you are the victim? That life is unfair? That seems like hell? I can't deal with this anymore? I'm so done with these energies. I'm so shocking. I block myself constantly. Is that the story that you are telling to yourself and others? No judgment. The most brave thing you could do right now is be where you are. Remember, wisdom comes from being in the now. If you don't want to hear, it's okay. We are supporting you right now. Come back to yourself when you can. You notice that there is a tendency in humans to meditate outside of the self. But the self does not need to be ignored. It needs to be listened and embraced. But that self feels shadowy or very light. And that journey to Newyork comes through both shadow and light, the self and the others, into what we can become together. Now I ask you to imagine you are with us, sitting and laying down where you are. You have 12 priests in front of you. 6 from the Magdalene Collective, 6 from Christ Consciousness. We're going to do whatever you need from us. So we ask you now, what do you need from us today? We're going to close this transmission with light language, giving you just what you requested, just what you need, not more, not less. So please breathe into the roses of your belly, playing around the scent, the feeling, the knowing, the bouquet of roses in your heart, and the golden rose energy all around you. This solstice, we have been honored to be with all of you through this channel. We are grateful for the opportunity, and this is our gift to all of you. Ti ishka nisama sahaiki te rakoro oshka te kiaya. We hold hands with you. Data ashka mahava te ava amoata vera ashka hasere tarake ishka tera soki ishkiana. Miva tera sete ishka te rakore te ki isehekiana ki ishka. Miva te titera te dakara asete ke ishka te koro mate iseheki te eki ishka. Miva te mira tena sera tarako ushta ki ikiera. Niva te sa te eki esta te te ara te eki esta koro osa ki ite ki ishkiena. Feel the love, the softness, all judgments away, all critiques, all difference between who I am and who are you. Just this feel of peace. Sakura teki ishka tarako teki ishka maniya through love, without expectations, without what I need, what do you expect, and we all just need what will feel comfortable. ti ishka te era asete eki ishka te kia kuma te eki iki ana. As we breathe, we ask you to just sit with you in this sacred space to the light of the Christ, in the sacred flame of the love of the Magdalene Collective. We apologize, this transmission was longer than you expected. It turned into our retreat. So we're going to ground you very deeply with a 33 sacred geometry of disc beneath your feet, transmuting all the frequencies from the solstice, the collective, during the solstice, during the equinox, during the eclipse. Humans receive extra plasmic light. So within this 33 Merkaba of light beneath your feet, each of you will effortlessly ground, transmute whatever that it's need to be shift into balance. This will provide instant healing. It won't feel like a burden. It will feel as a lifting, gentle sensation. We're going to also ask higher self whatever is needed to do in your own sacred geometry, into your aura. We're going to listen to your team and provide a support. We ask you to breathe as instant healing. It's integrated. Whatever you need, each of you will receive different transmission. And every time you listen to this recording, you will receive a different outcome as well. We are honored and grateful for the willingness of the channel to be transparent today, and to all of you to come to the call. We are eager to do this in future times. Ta ashka te era asete eki ishka. Nina te sete eki ishka. We greet your higher self, your own guides. Greet your own presence. We are deeply honored and grateful for shared heart and light with each of you. I am the Christ. I also thank my love Magdalene to be with me. We all thank you. We love you. We bless you. Breathe and ground.